Hello and welcome to Testimonies with T. I'm your host, Tia Costello, and today I'm here with Xenia.
Hi.
Thank you so much for being here.
No, thank you.
Honestly, I'm so excited to hear about your journey. So talk to me. Who are you? What do you do?
Well, who am I? So my name is Xenia. I'm 22 years old. I live in London, best city in the world.
Amen.
And I work as a producer and a presenter for a digital youth ministry.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's amazing. So how long have you been doing that for?
Well, I started kind of working part-time-ish, just being about in 2022. And then now I work full-time. So a 2-year journey. But yeah, it's been good.
Yeah, it's amazing. Oh, so let's take it back to baby Xenia. What was childhood like for you?
Where do we start? So I was raised in North London. Okay. Still live in North London to this day.
Okay.
I live with my mum. I live with my brother.
Nice.
So we're just kind of the squad. But now growing up, I was raised Catholic. So very much was in Catholic church. My mum used to serve in the church and she used to teach the Holy Communion classes to little children. So I kind of grew up always being around it. Yeah. My mum used to be a fashion designer.
Wow. So, that's so cool.
No, because she has slayed from the beginning of time.
I love that.
So she used to make clothes for famous people and actually design garments. But then she was like, okay, how can I also use these talents to serve God? So she used to make all the robes that the priest would wear and the altar servers.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, if you go to our church in the back room, you will see a cupboard with all of the robes that the priest would wear for different masses and stuff like that. So my mum helped make those. And then this primary school I went to was connected to the church as well. So we would have mass in the school and mass in the church. So very much church girl, but not the same way as other people would say that they grew up in church, but still grew up in church. And I just feel I had a really happy childhood. I'm not gonna lie, my mum is my superhero. She just has given so much to me and my brother, so selfless, really involved in our lives. Any issue we had, she was there. Has always been in and about it. But yeah, I think for the child part, the childhood, not the teenagers, but the childhood part, I would go back. So fun.
Really?
So fun.
Wow. And was you really absorbed in the church then? You enjoyed it, or was you it just something you always did as a family? Would you say you were really in it?
I think there was a bit of both. So me and my brother used to serve. We used to wear the robes as altar servers and follow the priest around. And we when he does the sacraments, we'd wash his hands and we'd help distribute the sacrament and stuff. So we were kind of main character from a very young age. So it was kind of giving it's a bit of me. So I loved it, but at the same time I think the actual faith aspect of having a relationship with Jesus and knowing who he is, it was a bit not really sure about that.
Yes.
I think my own understanding of God was always a little bit warped. I saw God as an authoritative figure, but almost a judging figure, waiting for me to slip up, or setting all these rules, and if I didn't pray before I went to bed, then something bad would happen the next day, and all this stuff. So I feel my relationship with God was very much based on if I did enough, then he'd be happy with me and he would love me.
Based on your works.
Yeah. 100% works based.
Wow. So then school was great during that time as well. Did you have lots of friends? Did they also go to church with you?
Yeah, we all went to the same church.
Okay, nice.
But I was primary school, I was such a happy kid, putting my hand up to answer every question, always wanting to learn more, always going around to make friends with the other kids. Even when new students would come, I would be I'd low-key ditch my friends to hang out with the new person.
Okay.
Because I was no, but I don't want them to feel alone. My friends will always be here for me, but this new person, they need to feel integrated. They need to feel somebody's here. Okay. So that was very much me.
But it's so nice though, because you were then serving others to really just help them slot into the school environment at such a young age as well, which almost reflects on what you're doing now, because you're just constantly serving, which is such a beautiful thing. As we're getting a bit older and we're getting into teenager, what does that look like?
Oh, teenage Xenia went through it. She struggled.
Okay.
So primary school was all great. Very much felt confident in myself. Very much felt kind of airy fairy, the world loves me, everything is great, you like have an argument with someone one day, the next day you come to school, everyone's best friends again. Like nothing's ever that deep.
Of course.
Like nothing could ever really go wrong.
Yes,
right?
yes.
So then I entered year 7 and I went to a school that wasn't near like where I grew up. So it was still a Catholic school, but it was in like another borough in North London. So had to meet like a whole group of new people and like, you know, find out who's who and like do all like the formalities. And my secondary school had like a summer school program. So those that were transitioning from year 6 to year 7, you would go for like a couple weeks, get to know like a couple people that would be in your year group or in your classes.
Wow.
Like, it was proper nice. So then when you started like in September, you knew people. Like nice. You kind of knew like where those toilets were, like where the hall was, like different classrooms. So I appreciated it for that. But there were a group of girls that I like really like flocked to in that summer school period. It was like 4 of us. We were like, this is it. But unfortunately that did not go the way that I thought it was gonna go. And very much like, how many weeks into year 7 was it? Maybe like 9 weeks into year 7. Like I just started to get like attacked by a couple of these girls.
Oh wow.
Like they bullied me hardcore, bro. Like I remember the day everything changed. Like I remember this so vividly. Yeah. But then there's other bits that I don't remember, and my mum remembers everything. But like certain bits, I think because of trauma, my brain just like
it's like blocking it out.
But this particular day, like everything changed over just a misunderstanding. It was something so petty, like, oh, school ends at this time. Well, some of us want to go to the toilet before we get on the bus. So, like, could you wait for us, like, outside the toilets? And I was like, okay, cool. But then I think me and this other girl, like, misheard the instructions. So we were like, oh, let's meet at the bus stop. Like, it's never that deep, right?
Yeah.
Me thinking everything is just never that deep. And we got to the bus stop and, like, we just couldn't find our friends. So we were like, okay, let's just get on the bus. And when, like, they'll just come. And then we got on the bus. We waited for them. And then they got on the bus. And this one girl in particular, like, she was just making a scene on the bus, and she was like calling me names, like calling the other girl names, like in front of everyone. And bearing in mind, like this is like a couple months into year 7, so like no one knows me, no one knows you in year 7. Like you're on the bus with like year 8s, year 9s, like 6th formers,
and
like
everyone's literally hearing this now.
Everyone's watching, like the 6th formers in their black suit uniform, like looking at you, and you're just thinking, oh my god, they probably think I'm like the worst person on that. No. And it was like I wanted the ground to swallow me. But I thought like, okay, this is just a Friday. Okay, cool. Like we'll come to school on Monday. I'm sure it was just like a misunderstanding. Yeah. And we can just get to it. I went to school on Monday. Oh my gosh, the tune did not change. Like this girl was so upset with me. Like she ignored me. Like, and then I just still cannot understand to this day why this happened to me. But like the other girl that I was confiding in, that we went to the bus together, all of that stuff. Like she just woke up one day and decided to just turn on me. So it was literally those 2 girls against me. Wow. And like, I used to cry all the time when I was in school. Bearing in mind, in our tiny little form class, like the girls and the guys kind of like just didn't hang out with each other. But I feel like that's what happens in year 7. Like all the girls just stick together, all the boys stick together. But like, because they were hanging out with all the girls, it was like I couldn't hang out with the girls. But then I didn't want to be the only girl that was hanging out with guys. So I just used to sit by myself.
Wow.
Like I used to sit next to my teacher's desk. Yeah. And that would be it. And my teacher always used to be like, why don't you sit with anybody? And I'm just like, I don't really want to. And I would just keep it like that. Wow. But like that was a really, really hard time in my life. Like not being able to talk to anybody in your class.
Yeah, really lonely,
for like a year. Like very lonely, like walking through the halls and like hearing people whispering your name and like laughing at you. And it was just walking through torment.
Wow.
And I would come home every day like crying. I used to like develop panic attacks. I used to have panic attacks all the time.
It got really bad.
Yeah. And like my mum just didn't really know like how to deal with it,
how to navigate it,
how to like at all. I mean, she did go into the school because my mum was very much like, no one's harming my children. Yeah, she was that parent. So she went into the school to try and solve it, but I think like, I just don't think they handled it in the best way. And I think my mum going in just made things a little bit worse. So I just had to like ride it out for like a year.
Wow. And like how did you deal with that throughout the year then? Obviously like you were having all the panic attacks and like crying a lot, but like genuinely, like how did you make it through like the lunch times, the everything?
I used to sit, so we had our school playground, and I would sit like off the side of the playground where nobody could see me, like behind the classrooms of our like science block. Yeah. And I used to just sit there and just read books. I used like books, movies, like real escapism. And then I used to do like performing arts outside of school as well. Okay. So that would be like my safe haven.
Nice.
Like after school I would go to like that youth club and like just be able to be myself until those people started coming to my youth club as well. And then you
lost that escapism.
It wasn't the same afterwards. It wasn't the same. But I think it was really tough. And I think because I didn't really have a strong relationship with God, like I was kind of doing all the things for God, but I wasn't like feeling the presence of Jesus and anything like that. I kind of just didn't have anything to have hope in. So I felt very hopeless. So I felt like for me, it was like, unless you leave this school, this is never going away. So it was very much like, you might have to survive this for 5 years.
Wow.
And just put up with it.
Wow. So did you still have like friends from church?
Yeah. I mean, there was a girl that was in the same school. Like we went to secondary school together. But like the hard part of bullying is it's the fear culture of like, if I say something or if I stand up for you, I could be a target.
For sure. Or even sit with you. Like,
Yeah. So I feel like for them, it was very much like we all kind of like hung out in the same group, but they saw things happening, but they were too afraid to speak up and say anything. So it was very much like, okay, I still feel alone. And like there were people in my U group that I spoke to, but I just felt like in that year particularly, like I didn't really have strong friendships or people I could confide in. There were a few girls in like another form class that really held my back, and we kind of stayed friends throughout the entirety of secondary school, but they were literally like my only hope. But then it's like, because we didn't have a lot of classes together, I was like, how often can I really see you?
For sure.
So yeah, it was really hard. I don't even know how I got through it, to be honest.
So you stayed there for the whole 5 years and just rided it out.
Ride it out. And like there was a lot of healing in between that though. So like I remember in year 10, so 4 years later, one of the girls that used to like bully me, she came up to me in school and she was like, oh, can I like chat to you? And I was like, yeah, cool. Like, what do you want to talk about? And she was like, I just really wanted to apologize. For like all the stuff that I did to you 4 years ago.
Wow.
And it hit me so left field.
Yeah, I bet.
Because I wasn't expecting that. But she was just like, yeah, no, like I know we were young, but that still doesn't excuse like what I did.
Yeah.
Like it didn't sit right with me. It's never sat right with me. And I just really wanted to apologize. And I remember coming home crying and telling my mum, right, she apologized to me, but I forgive her. Like I actually hold nothing against her.
Wow.
All I wanted was an apology.
Yeah.
But like I never got that from the others. So I feel like, God has just brought me on a journey of like forgiveness.
Yeah.
Which I guess we'll touch on later. But like, no, that was pivotal. The fact that I was able to forgive her.
So did it move forward and then look different?
I mean, kind of, but not really. So like I was friends with like some of the boys. So I decided like, well, if none of the girls are going to chill with me, I'm going to have to like speak to some of the guys. So that was kind of like my entryway into friendships in school. So then I kind of did that for a couple years. Amazing. So then I started to like find my feet and like find people that I connected with like academically. But I always felt really nervous to chat and be friends with some of the girls because I felt like I was just waiting for somebody to like make a comment about me or say like, oh, why'd you talk like that? Or like, oh, why'd you listen to that type of music? Like, you're so weird. Like, why would you think that? Like, I was always on guard, and like whenever those comments came, I always felt like so shrunk back.
Wow.
So like in school, I would try to like get on everybody's good side, and I would try to like
overthinker.
Oh my goodness, such an overthinker, to the point where I was like, okay, whatever person that you want me to be, I will be that person.
Wow, you were a morpher into everything. Yeah.
People pleaser to 10.
Yes.
Because I was like, if I can just please people, then surely I will never get bullied again. That was like my survival tactic.
Yeah.
So I was like, when I'm around these people, I'm going to dress like them, listen to the same music they listen to, like know all the references, like get inside of like how they think and just reproduce that to them, because then they'll like me. And then when I'm around these people, then I can do the same thing but for them. And I remember like when I was in like year 11, I would come home and be like, bro, who was I today? Like how many people was I today? Like to the point where like, who am I? Like what do I like?
Yeah, I was about to say that must have caused a major identity loss.
Oh my gosh, identity crisis.
Yeah.
Crisis. But you can only play that game for so long, and it definitely
exhausting.
caught up on me. So exhausting.
Yeah. What did then the end of, I guess, like secondary school look like then?
So when I was doing my GCSEs in year 11, like my anxiety was just at an all-time high, because I guess like the pressure of like these
even the exams,
but and the way my school, these teachers, like looking back on it now, I wish I could tell myself like, yes, your teachers hold wisdom, but like don't hold on to everything that they say, because they're obviously saying things for a reason. So like I was like one of the top performers academically.
Okay,
so
amazing.
Obviously my teachers are like, no, you need to do well because this reflects on us. Like if you get better grades, it boosts up how the school looks on the league tables, like all these other things, like because you're on free school meals, like if you do well, like the school gets more money, like gets more funding from the government. So like there's so many other things, but like as a child, all you're hearing is like, you need to do well, you need to do well, you need to do well. Like why are you not doing well? You need to perform, like you need to get these grades, like you need to make us look good. And that's how it felt. And I started to like have very, very unaliveable thoughts, should we say, and like ideations. And I remember there was one day that I like had a moment of like psychosis in school where I just disappeared. Like, and I don't even know where I ended up. But then I just remember coming to my senses, and I was in my RE teacher's classroom. But like 5 minutes ago, I was in my maths class. I was like, made that make sense?
Wow.
That's when I realized it was serious. Like, bro, you need help. So my mum caught me one day just like in the sitting room crying on my knees, being like, I want to like end myself. Like, I don't want to be here anymore. So she was like, yeah, let's get you to like therapy. That's probably what you need.
So you feel like the exams really just like, I guess, heightened and pushed everything over the edge. The whole 4 years, I guess, just really then like pushed it over the edge with the exams.
Tipping point.
Yeah. So then you've started therapy. What was that journey like?
Well, at this point, like I was very much a world orphan. So I had no relationship with Jesus at this point. I kind of like stepped away, kind of rejected God, wasn't really going to church anymore. Because I just felt very broken. And I just felt like, if God is so good, like, why is this happening to me? Which I know so many people ask that question. Yeah. And it's a big thing that pulls people away from faith. Because it's like, God promises me all these things in the Bible. Yeah. And then I look at my life and I'm not seeing any of these promises. Like, I'm just seeing pain, suffering, hardship. Like, God, what's going on? So when I went to therapy, I did it for 2 months in the summer before I started sixth form. Okay. So I went like once a week in summer, and it was really good. Okay. Really, really good.
I'm
like
such an advocate for therapy.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Yeah. It really helped me like figure out like why are you having these thoughts? Where's the root issue? And I didn't realize like all the stuff that happened to me in year 7 was following me like a dark cloud all those years. Yeah. Because you don't know, because you're in the driver's seat. Like you're just living your life. Like you're just, things are happening. You're just moving through it. Yeah. It's only when somebody else, like from a hindsight perspective, can be like, oh wait, what about what happened 5 years ago? Yeah. And do you think that that has any relation to like where you are right now and the feelings that you're having right now and where they started? And I'm like, oh my gosh, yes. Yeah. I'm like, yes. So being able to like identify the root of my pain and being able to build a toolkit of how to move forward. Like when you have certain thoughts, it's like being active, being self-aware to catch it in the moment and like retrain your mind to think other things, which is actually quite biblical language when you think about it. But I mean, hey, God, he works behind the scenes. Do you know what I mean? I did that for 2 months and then I started doing my A-levels in sixth form in a different school.
So do you feel like the therapy really just allowed you to come back to earth?
Yeah. And it made me realize that like I am not the problem. I was never the problem. Yeah. You don't have to be 5 different people for people to like you. Be yourself, and whoever likes you will like you, and whoever doesn't, who cares? Who cares? And I think when we're in school, we think that this is everything, because you're at school more than you're at home, like 5 days a week for long hours. And these times I would stay after school to like get my homework done, coming home at 6 p.m. Like school was literally everything. Yeah. And it feels like it. So you're like, oh, if I'm not liked here, then I will never be liked anywhere. And that's such a lie. That's such a lie, because it's such a small part of your life in the grand scheme of how many years God willing that you live. Once I figured that out and I moved school, it helped me like gain a fresh perspective of like, okay, you've gone through this journey, you've learned these new skills on like how to think and like how to take these thoughts captive and how to not beat yourself up too much when you're going through it. Now we're meeting new people. Now we have to start this again. Yeah. Now we have to learn to trust people again. And like, how do we deal with that?
And how do we navigate that?
And it was really hard. It was very hard.
Yeah, because I guess also like you're trying to retrain yourself to have, I guess, a whole new perspective on everything and kind of like wipe the slate clean, right? Because you'd got to such a low point to then walk into this new environment, having to like go against everything that like you've just found out about yourself. And it's like, okay, how do I I know I've just been given the tools, but still, how do I
use them?
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah. So did you find that, obviously it was hard, but did you find that eventually that you were able to kind of like settle in that school?
Yeah, I think God is so intentional with everything. So that school was a non-faith school.
Okay.
And it was just a like sixth form college. So it was just for year 12 and year 13 and only if you were doing A levels.
Okay.
So and because it was quite a like high performing school, like you had to get certain GCSE grades to be accepted. So it was very much a like, are you on job or are you not on job?
Okay.
Like it wasn't for people that wanted to take the mix.
People are here to learn.
Yeah, people are here to learn. And it very much felt like that. Whereas in secondary school, obviously like everyone's just here because you have to be here.
Yeah.
So like the type of people that I was going to meet were like going to be a different, I guess, group of people to who I'd grown up with. So yeah, no, it was very, very difficult, like being able to be confident and being able to feel like, no, you can academically shine and it's not weird. You're not weird. You're not this, you're not that because you want to learn. Like everybody else here wants to. But then also like the girls that I made friends with, I came into those friendships filled with trauma. I came with bags of trauma. I was like, no, like I'm not gonna trust them. Like I'm only friends with you because we're in school together, and then once I go to uni, like I will never speak to you again. Like that was literally
You
it.
really
like,
struggled.
Like I struggled for a year, and God bless them because they really journeyed with me. Like some of them were Christian, some of them were not, but like they just really showed me like unconditional love and people that were like, they recognized that I had trauma, but they were like, no, we're gonna journey this.
So much patience.
So patient, like to the point where they would invite me to like birthdays and stuff, and I would come and I would be like, bro, I literally don't go to people's homes after school. Like this is not normal for me. Like, can I go home early? And like the things I would say, they would be, why is she saying this? Like this is normal for the rest of us.
Yeah.
But they still had the patience to be like, okay, let's move at your pace. And we're not gonna do all that. We're not gonna do too much if you're not ready. But like we'll just move at your pace, and whenever you're ready, we're here to love you. And like those girls, like to this day, we're still really, really good friends. To this day, like some of the best friends I know, because they've seen me from like this little trauma mess that came into year 12 to like what I do now is like a completely different person.
Yeah. Do you feel like their love was, and the way that they were able to be so patient, and I guess in a way like so Christ-like, right, was slowly like breaking you down?
Oh, 100%. I think God is so intentional with how he uses people.
100%.
And he always uses people to speak to us because sometimes we don't want to listen.
Yes.
Right. And at this point, like I wasn't even thinking about Jesus like that.
Exactly.
So, and they were really like doing their thing. Like a lot of them went to like this Christian club that we had at school. Okay. But I wasn't really going at that time anyway. But I still felt like they were like God used them. Like God used them. And I feel like they didn't even realize that God was using them when he was. Like they may have just thought, oh, I just want to text Xenia on Snapchat and tell her like, oh my gosh, like that essay you wrote was really, really good. And they probably didn't think anything of it. But like that was God working through me. Or like one of the girls that I was friends with in sixth form was the same girl that apologized to me in year 10. We went to the same sixth form together, and she would text me and be like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to see what unis you apply to. Like I cannot wait to see what. So you see the way that God was working behind the scenes
for sure
in profound ways, like that within itself is like a whole testimony of redemption. Oh, bro, forgiveness, like what God could do with forgiveness is just wow. But yeah, like God really, really journeys and allowed me to trust people again. I realized like not everybody is out to get you. Like there are genuinely some gems in this life, but you have to trust people in order to figure that out.
Yes.
And like you can't be guarded and still try to find good people in your life, because like you need a level of vulnerability to let people in. But if you don't want to be vulnerable, it's like, bro, you'll never develop those friendships. So you need to like take that risk. Yes. And it is scary, but it pays off.
Yeah, for sure.
Pays off.
I have this like analogy with my friends, because sometimes when you're being like not really trying to give everything and really be vulnerable and open, you're really only giving people a few sentences to go from. But if someone has the whole story, they can really see where you are. And it's like you need to give people more lines, more sentences, you know.
I love
to be able to let people in.
I love that, but it's scary because it's like you might read this book and not like it. So it's like I don't even know if I want to show them
literally
the rest of these chapters. But like, how do you know what somebody's gonna think until they actually have it in their hands?
Exactly, and you don't know what the next chapter's got in store.
Like, how do you know?
Page, you know?
How do you know?
Yeah,
you don't know.
Exactly. So you then have these friendships. So you finally let them in because they're patient with you and just so loving. What then? You went on to university?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I did.
Amazing.
I went to uni. I was a LSE girl.
Wow.
I did history.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that is not what I expected you to say.
Yeah, I did that.
Wow.
I did international history at London School of Economics.
That's amazing. And
Yeah.
LSE is just, wow, incredible.
LSE was my dream uni. And how I even got to LSE was a testimony of God.
Let's talk about it.
It was, okay. So I found Jesus when I was 17.
Okay, so you've, with your friends, and
We've
in
had
that
that year.
friendship, yeah. So then what happened leading up to finding Jesus?
So I think through all of that, like they're going to this Christian society, and I always felt like, should I go? Should I not go? Maybe there is something to this Jesus.
Yeah.
Like maybe there is something, but I don't think it was very much like I need to figure this out. It was very much like, I'm just kind of open to it. Like maybe Jesus is a thing, you know, maybe he is who he says he is. And so I remember going to like try a church, like a random church that I found, but it was not a good church.
Yeah.
But it was giving cults.
Okay, say no more.
So I was like, okay,
Yeah.
great. So that was in like the summer of year 12.
Yeah.
And I remember can you imagine giving the creator of the universe an ultimatum? Like, bro, I know we say main character, but that right there was too far. But I remember like having this thought being like, Jesus, like God, whatever, whoever, like I don't know what it is, but I'm giving you one last chance.
Wow.
And then like the next church I go to, if it doesn't bang, then you can't be real. So that's it. But no one can tell me that I didn't try.
Wow.
And I'd be satisfied with the rest of my life going like, I gave it a try, but it just wasn't for me. But I had this one friend from secondary school that I kind of kept in contact with. Like she was in like one of the other classes to me. So we weren't really like close throughout the whole like bullying situation, but we kind of knew each other. We were friends throughout the years. And then after secondary school ended, she was like the only friend that I kept in touch with, like really.
Yeah.
From there. So she's kind of like a life sister. But I remember her texting me over summer being like, I found this church that's really cool. And I feel like you should come. And I was just like, bro, like, not sure. I'm not sure. And there was that one Sunday where I genuinely like wasn't doing anything. Like the first
you
Sunday
actually
in
couldn't
August.
escape and not go.
And I was like, okay, well, I'll go. And then I can say that I went. So even if I don't like it, it's like, okay, but I gave it a try. So it was just like, cool. So I went and I met up with her and it was in Central. We went and I was just like, why are there so many people? Like the church I grew up in, like the only time people showed up was on Easter Sunday.
Right.
So that was it. So I was like, this is just a regular Sunday in August. And the place is packed.
Wow.
To the point where they were like, there's no seats downstairs. Like you have to sit upstairs. And we were sitting in like the balcony, like so many rows back, can barely see anything. I was like, no, what is this? And then like the worship started and I just got wrecked.
Really?
Wrecked. I was 17 years old, like listening to these worship songs.
Yeah. Had you
like,
ever listened to worship like that before?
Never.
Yeah.
Never. Like this is completely
it's very different, right?
So different. So I didn't know what to expect, but I heard the Holy Spirit like really speak to me the first time ever in my life. And I didn't know like God had an audible voice. I didn't know like God was like here.
Yeah.
Like I knew he was up there, but I didn't know he was here.
Yeah.
And I didn't know he was in here. Like, and at that moment, he just started showering me in affirmation.
Wow.
Showering me in the things that I needed to hear, but I just couldn't hear from anybody else.
Wow.
He told me, like, he was like, you are enough. You are valued. And I was just like sobbing, like absolutely broken, wrecked. And I couldn't tell you what the pastor preached on. I couldn't tell you any of that. But what I do know is that was the first time where I actually met with the Lord.
Wow.
And after that moment, I was like, whatever that is, like, if this is actually God, I have to come back here. Like, I need to hear more of this because, first of all, I've been living my whole life trying to, like, navigate myself for different friendships. And I only recently am I starting to feel a bit more secure, but my confidence still feels like it could be shaken at any moment. And, like, now I'm being told that I can be secure in myself because I was made with value. It's like mind blowing.
Wow.
Mind blowing. So then I just like slowly started throughout the next few weeks, just kept coming back. And then now that's my church.
Wow. So it literally just
changed my life.
Changed your life. Wow.
And so then I went into year 13 being like, okay, cool. I believe in Jesus, but now I'm actually applying to uni. So like, it's either we're going to trust him here or we're not. Like, it's either we're going to actually apply what we believe.
Yeah.
Or we're just not going to. So I thought, okay, cool. Like, let me start going to this Christian society in school. Let me keep going to church every Sunday.
Yeah.
Let me give my all to my studies, but ultimately let me put God first and like really lead with this thing.
Wow. So you really did just go from like not doing anything really to then like absorbing your whole life almost overnight.
I was in. Wow. I was all in. And I think this time it's different because like when I was younger, I was serving in church. At this point, I wasn't. So I was just focusing on building my relationship with God and figuring out who Jesus was and learning more about him. And so like I was applying. I applied, set my UCAS, put all my universities through, had some like big unis on there. Like I was like, I'm going to be an Oxford girl. I'm applying to Oxford. I'm applying to LSE. Like I'm really in this thing. Like I want to go to uni. I want to be a lawyer. Like I want to do all of it. And so like all my friends, naturally, we're all applying to the same uni. So we're all in the same bubble. So we know the same pressures, like really going for it. And so I genuinely thought like I was going to be an Oxford girl.
Wow.
I had my heart life set on going to Oxford because I thought like, there's no way I could get into LSE, which is so dumb because they're both really competitive.
This is what I was like, wait, wow.
It makes the logic makes no sense.
That's so
but yet somehow it made sense.
Yeah.
I literally said to myself, like, LSE is the dream and that would be so sick, but like, it's just not possible.
So let me focus on Oxford.
Yeah, let me focus on what I can do. Like, I can work for my Oxford application. Like, I can study for like the history entrance exam.
Yes.
I can like go to all the summer schools and I can make my
felt
CV
like it was a bit more in control.
It was more in control. Like, and all my friends are like basically gonna go, so it's like we're all going together. So it's gonna make sense. And like I went for my interview and like it was all making sense and all of this stuff. And then I didn't get in, and then it was just like what? This is not part of the plan.
Did it catch you off guard?
Oh my gosh, I was devastated.
Distraught.
Like, I was crying so much. Like, I was so depressed that day. Like, I was like, nah, my future's done. Yeah. It's over. I was like, bro.
Because you only saw that way, right?
I was like, no, I'm going to have to take a gap here. Reapply to uni again. I was like, no. I was so hurt. But I also felt like, God, we did this together. Like, we were in this together. Like, you brought me this far. Like, bro, why would you bring me this far to like almost fail me? Yeah. But then there was still a part of me that was like, you know what? Like, in the midst of all of this, it will make sense. Like, it will make sense. Like, I'm going to feel what I need to feel and like mourn my dream, but it's going to make sense eventually. I went back to school like 2 days later because I was just like, no, I can't face it. Yeah.
Because also what happens is then there's a shame around it, right? We start to feel ashamed because I've gassed the whole thing up. I've told everyone that I'm going Oxford, and suddenly now I have to face them and tell them. My family knew
I was going. Listen, my friends outside of school, they knew I was going. All my friends that applied, I was like, I don't see me there. Like, and the worst part was they all got in.
Oh, wow.
They all got in. They all got to Oxford. They all got to Cambridge. It was literally like maybe 1 or 2 people that didn't.
Wow. So it made you feel even more.
I was like, well, see y'all later. I'm not joining you for the dream. I remember I had this one friend. She was like, we both went through the same rejection. We both went through the same pain. And I remember she was like really devastated as well. And we went to school on the Friday, like the last day of the week. We had like 1 lesson left. Yeah. But she said, let's go to the prayer room and let's just pray. And she was like nobody else can actually understand what we're going through. So let's just sit in this and be like, you know, let's just surrender. Let's just pray. And like I said, okay, let's go. So we went to the prayer room. Wow. We prayed together and we literally were just like, God, like whatever your plan is, like we are all for it. Like whatever your will is, it is perfect. Wow. And we're just going to trust that. So God, like literally just have your way in the situation. Like wherever you want us to go, if you want us to take a gap year, if you want us to go to another uni, like whatever it is, like just make it so clear and we will follow. We're just going to go where you want to go. And it was such a vulnerable moment of prayer. Be so real. The day was coming to an end and I got an email being like, your UCAS is updated. And I was like, why is my UCAS updated? And I was like, oh my gosh, I have one uni left. Like, I'd completely forgotten
about it.
I opened the laptop and it was like, congratulations. It was like,
wow.
It was acceptance, not just acceptance, but they offered me lower grades than what they were actually asking for.
Wow. So it was literally like above and beyond. Wow.
I was shocked. I started crying. And it was like everyone's dreams were actually happening. It was at that moment where I was like, wow, okay, like God is not dependent on whether good or bad things happen, but the fact that he was with me through it all, regardless on how it was going to turn out. Like I might not have, like he could have decided, no, you don't need to go LSE, but like in his grace, he allowed that to happen.
Yeah.
And he very much went above my expectations. Like I just genuinely thought it was out of my grasp.
Yeah.
And he still made it happen.
And that's what I think so like beautiful about this is the fact that like the key part of this was actually the moment that you said, Lord, I give it to you and I surrender. And actually, I'm just going to be present here with you and just allow you to lead the way, was the moment he was like, okay, I'm going to take the reins and this is now what's going to happen. And look at the joy that came out of that. I think it's so important to remember that daily we have to literally surrender to him because it allows him to literally just lead the way and guide us into exactly where he wants and needs us to be.
Even what I thought I was going to get out of university is not even what I got out of it. Like, I thought I was going to end up like becoming a barrister. I'm definitely not a barrister. If you can tell, definitely know what I'm doing now. So like, even what I thought initially would have been my life, exceedingly and abundantly. Like he always outdoes you. Like how you feel like it's gonna be, it's never that. And guess what? It's okay because it's better. It's always better.
Yeah, literally.
No, like he really outdid himself when I was at uni. Because now I look at my life and I'm like, I would have never thought I'd be here.
Wow.
Like I wasn't even in this world at all before I was in uni. So like, he just completely blindsided me in the best way. But I am so thankful for year 13 and what I learned in that uni application journey because it laid the foundations for my faith. And it allowed me, like when I was actually walking it out, to be like, no, think back to those moments. And I had those like testimony moments to go back to of like when things were hard. I was like, no, God can come through because he came through then. And like having those moments to hold on to.
It's so important to remember.
Yeah.
Because it's also so easy to forget. So you've now finished school, you've got your grades, you start LSE. What does university look like?
Horror.
Whole different place, right?
Guys, uni was horror. Bearing in mind I was doing uni in the pandemic. So I was those students that got their A-level grades in the pandemic. I remember going into uni on that first day and just crying when I left. I was like, this is terrible. This is hard. I was like, uni is hard. Because they told me like, oh, A-levels is the hardest thing you'll ever do. Who made that up? But I remember walking on the first day and just feeling like out of my depth and being like, well, if this is what it's gonna be, why did I ask for this? And I remember there was like 6 months of just crying. Constant crying every day, being like, I can't do this. I'm not smart enough. Like I definitely tricked my way in. Like, I don't know how I got put here, but like, this is not for me. I don't have what it takes to do this. Every assignment, I was like, oh, this doesn't bang. It's not good. And even like making friends was really, really hard. Like, just trying to figure out like who's your people, who's for you. Like, uni is bigger than school. So it's like trying to navigate those relationships. But it was also really, really character building as well. I think when you go into like a new job or like to university, you can almost go in thinking like the world is my oyster. And yes, it is to an extent, but also like there's fundamentals that you need to learn. For sure. You know, like you need to learn this new environment. You need to learn like how to thrive under pressure. You need to learn like how to trust yourself when it comes to like what you're writing in your essays. And so like that first year was definitely me like learning all that. Yeah. And also trusting in God heavy.
So you really just leaned on him during that time.
I was like, well, you got me here, so
lead the way. Yeah. And how did uni turn into the way? Because
let me tell you,
lawyer, barrister, LSE to producing and completely different area of your life.
Not the same at all.
couldn't be more worlds apart.
I lived in student halls and I was the only Christian in my flat.
Okay.
So that was like really interesting to navigate in terms of like, why are you going to church every Sunday? Like, is this actually for real? Like, where are you going on a Thursday night? Oh no, I'm going Bible study. It's like, oh, well, okay.
Yeah.
And like even the way that like I would have my friends over and like my friends just have good vibes. Like I don't have bad people in my life. Yeah. Energy they'd come with, and all my flatmates like, oh, I loved your friends. Like, da, da, da. They all go to my church. Like, we're all Christians. And I think in that year, like I really was just like, you know what? If I'm living out, I'm gonna live this Jesus thing for real, for real.
Wow.
Like I think I made an active decision. I was like, I am going to live out my faith. I think before I had moments where I was like, oh, Jesus is real, but I can kind of da-da-da-da. But I think once I was in second year, I was like, no, this is it. Like, I'm going to give this everything.
Wow.
And so, like, I was going to uni, applying for, like, all these different work experience stuff because I was like, no, I'm going to be a barrister. Like, that's still, like, what I need to do.
Yeah.
And, like, in second year of uni, that's, like, the year where everybody's like, let me get my vacation scheme. Let me get this. Let me get that. So, I remember my friend that went to a different uni. He went to King's. He knew that I wanted to be a barrister. He's also a Christian.
Okay.
But he knew I wanted to be a barrister. So he was like, Xenia, I saw this thing at my uni. What do you call it? Like a mentorship scheme.
Okay, nice.
Where you could be mentored by a barrister. And he was like, maybe this could open doors for you. But like, I feel like you should apply for it. When I tell you, I did my application like 5 hours before the deadline. I was going to apply and see what happens. Anyway, did my application. Actually got accepted into the program, and then I had like my own like barrister that was mentoring me.
Wow.
So I remember like he invited me to the chambers that he was working in. So I went on that day and I was very much like, whoa, this is giving Hogwarts. Like, this is giving like, wow, my dreams. Like we had a lunch together and he was telling me about like his job, like what he does for work. He was like, oh my gosh, my wife's a Christian. Like, and like whilst he was speaking to me, I heard something in me and I knew it wasn't me because I would never tell myself this, but I heard something in me say, this is not what I've called you to do.
Wow.
And I had like a sinking feeling in my chest the whole afternoon.
Wow.
And I went back to my flat and I was like, what was that? What was that? That wasn't fun.
Wow.
That can't be true.
Yeah.
No, this is what I'm called to do. Like, this has been my dream since I was like 16. Like, what are you talking about? No, that's not true. And then like the weeks would go by and I would still feel this feeling like whenever I would like open my emails to like see if I've been accepted onto other like work experience things, I would get that same, this is not what I've called you to do. And I'm like, ugh, this doesn't feel right. And I think I had a moment where I went to my room and I had my Bible open and I think it clicked what that meant. And I just started crying. I was like, God, no. No, this can't be it. Like, are you really telling me to give up my dream?
Wow.
I think like they got to a point where I was like, no, I need to be obedient. I need to be obedient. In the scope of like all my friends are set with what they're doing after uni. Everyone's got their plan. Yeah. And now my plan doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, it's literally been turned on its head.
So all I had was just my degree. I had no plans. I had nothing I'd applied to, like no jobs, nothing. I was like, well, this is it. Like the only thing I've got is my degree and church. So like, let's just start serving. Like there was something in me that was just like, you need to start serving at church. Like you need to be in. Yeah. So let me start serving on a Sunday. Yeah. Helping out with students. So I started doing that. And then I joined Gospel Society at my uni. Okay. And then I was Bible study officer for that. Wow. So I was just doing a lot of serving. Yes. I think I just decided like, if I just apply Matthew 6:33 and I seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, everything else will be added. Like I believe that strongly. So I said, okay, let me seek God first. Still go give uni my all and everything will be added. And I remember one of my friends called me one day. His name's Kane. He's amazing. We've been friends for like 2 years. He was doing like Christian content on like YouTube and Instagram. Yeah. And I had like a little YouTube channel during the pandemic where I was trying to like do like Christian content. Okay. And we kind of connected on that. And he called me and he was like, hey, like just want to check in, like what's going on, like how are you doing? And I remember telling him like, bro, like I feel so lost. Like I don't know what I'm doing after uni, but I mean, I'm serving in church and like I'm really like in love with the Lord and like I'm reading the scriptures and they're jumping out and it's just like I'm learning so much and I'm thriving. and uni's like going really, really well. And he was just like, well, I'm working for this like social media company called The Way. I don't know if you're aware of what it is. And I'd seen like a couple things because I follow what my friends do because I love my friends. And I was like, yeah, I've seen like a couple stuff, but I don't really know much about it. At that time, The Way was like quite small. Like it wasn't like what it looks like right now. And he was like, well, the team is expanding. And when I was thinking of like who I know that could be a good fit, I thought of you. And he was like, you don't have to say yes, but just think about it, like give it some consideration. So I was like, okay, cool. So I prayed about it, and like a couple weeks went by, and I was just feeling like a lot of peace about it. Like I just felt like this could be like another thing in the seeking first. Plus like presenting is cool, and like I love presenting. Like I've always wanted to do it, but I just thought like, nah, the lawyer route is just more safe. Like get that secure income, like be that girl, get your degree. I just thought, okay, cool. Like if this is something that the Lord wants me to do, I'm just going to be obedient to the season. So I remember I had a team call with the Way team. And actually one of the girls on the team, Sue, I actually met her when I was doing my Oxford like interview.
Oh, wow.
I met her, like we were literally applying to the same college, and we were staying there. And then we just like became like passive friends. Wow. I was like, oh, I know who she is, and she's a Christian as well. Like, oh, it's kind of lit. Yeah. And then fast forward like a few years later, like I jump on this call and I see her, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I haven't seen you in ages. And it just felt like that call just felt so peaceful. Like it just felt right, you know. And then I went for like one shoot day that we had, and meeting the team in person and actually doing the presenting, and it was just so fun. Wow. And I was like, I love this. And then I just started doing it like as and when. I had a part-time job on the side, so whenever I wasn't like working part-time, I was like doing like The Way, like random shoots here and there. Did that throughout like the latter half of second year, and then all into like third year of university, the final year where you do your dissertation, and then you go out into the big wide world and you do your thing. So still having no life plan. Like The Way was just like a side thing that I was doing. It wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna do this as a career. But I was like, God, like what is it? And I remember praying a lot in that year, being like, God, you know, the clock, the academic clock is running out. And I remember we started a podcast series. This podcast series really changed everything for me. We started a podcast series in 2023 called Failing Forwards. And it was about different people. We had like a guest on, somebody that had like failed in an area of their life, and then talking about how that failure didn't set them back, but it actually failed them forwards into what God had for them. And so we had like different guest speakers, and the first episode we did was about relationships, and it was with two people called Dan and Charlie Blythe. And they actually used to be like the youth pastors at the church that I was going to. So when I started going to church, like I knew who they were, like they used to pastor, but I'd never met them. And so we like did the podcast interview, and everything was great. And I was like talking to them, and I was like, Dan, like I know you used to be a pastor at my church, like I still go to the church. He's like, oh no way. And that was kind of like it for that episode. And then we did a few more episodes, and the podcast was really, really good. And then I remember like I posted a picture on Instagram. I posted like a dump. And then Dan commented in the dump, and he was like, at this person, you need to meet Xenia. And I was like, what
is going on?
And then I got a DM by the girl, and she was like, hey, like Dan's told me so much about you. I work for Alpha, this company, and we're doing like a series with TBN, like a youth series, where we get like youth sitting around on the sofa, and like we like answer difficult questions and stuff. And she was like, we think you'd be a great host for that. And she was like, would you be like up for doing it? And I was like, yeah, I can do that. I was like, this is fun.
Wow.
And then I did it, and they originally wanted me for one episode, but they kept me for 3.
Wow.
And I was like, why am I doing so much? But I loved the team. Like I actually loved it. I loved like getting to know new people, and like feeling like we were part of a family, like we were part of something that was greater.
The whole experience.
The experience was, and I was just like, wow, like this is kind of cool. And I feel like that was kind of like a seed of like, this could be something for you.
Wow.
And then a month after that, Dan texted me, and he texted Jesse, who I work with in The Way. And he said, are you guys free on like such and such a day? Would love to have like coffee with you and like introduce you to a couple friends. Bearing in mind, I'm still writing my dissertation. I still have nothing after uni. I'm just out here. So I'm like, okay, yeah, cool. So we went, like, had this coffee, had a meeting with, like, his friends, and, like, one of them is Canadian. He's, like, this incredible writer. He's like written on, like, Stranger Things and stuff like that, like, but deep Christian. This other guy, he's like a journalist, like a award-winning journalist. And all of a sudden, like, the conversation is just giving job interview, and I was just like, what are we doing? What's going on here? Like, what are we doing? I'm kind of nervous. And they're like, oh, like, there's this series that we're working on with Alpha. Like, they have this youth series out, which is really good, but they want to redo it. And we were the first 2 people that they interviewed for it. Wow. And I was just like, well, that was fun, but I definitely bottled that. But, like, I don't even know what this whole, like, Alpha thing really is. So I'm just like, God, if it turns into something, great. But at the same time, I've got a dissertation to do. So, like, I showed up, I gave it my best shot, but cool. Went on to, like, do my dissertation, and then I got a random email saying, like, you've been shortlisted to be, like, a presenter for this Alpha Youth series. And I was like, what is this Alpha Youth series? Like, I even forgot about it. Like, and then even still within that, like, it's now summertime, it's like June, and, like, I'm having conversations with Michael, who, like, runs the way, and he's like, what are you doing after uni? And I was like, bro, I still don't know. Like, I still don't know. And he's like, well, maybe you'd consider, like, working for the way, like, a bit more. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I guess so. Like, I've got nothing else, so let's just do it. Wow. So then I started doing, like, a couple more days. I started doing, like, a little bit of writing and like filming some of the on the street stuff, and, like, started to get involved with that, and, like, just helping out on the podcast. And I felt like an anchored member of the team. It's like being faithful. I was like, God, this is what I've got in front of me, so I'm just going to be faithful. And, like, you know that scripture in Luke where it says, if you're faithful with the little, you'll be blessed with the much. And I was like, no, I'm going to be faithful with the little, because I don't know what the much is. But the summer's going by, like, Alpha's, like, chatting to me. They're like, oh, can we do another interview? I'm like, okay, whatever. Like, bruh, it's not even going to be anything anyway. I'm like, and then I got an email from them being like, we want you to be, like, a host on the series. Wow. And we want to, like, actually do this for real. And then I'm having chats with The Way, talking about how, yeah, we want you to, like, start working full time soon as well. And I'm like, wow, everything's worked out. Wow. Everything's worked out. Like, I'm working, doing ministry, doing presenting, doing social media, doing things that I really wanted to do, but was always felt like it wasn't for me. And, like, this isn't the secure route. Like, there's no way this can work out for you. And then also, like, working with another company, doing this incredible youth series, like, traveling the world, meeting incredible people, making new friends. And even the story of, like, our friendship as hosts has been such a testimony within itself. And, like, I don't know, I just sit here now and I think, like, bro, one yes can change everything. Like, if you give God your yes, he will honor that. He honors it. Like, God very much matches the energy and goes exceedingly beyond that. Yeah. And God has completely backed me. He has never forsaken me, ever. There was not one point where I felt like the Lord wasn't with me. Like, yes, there have been really hard moments. I never thought for a moment, like, oh, God doesn't exist. Like, I went back to when I was 17 at sixth form, and I was like, bro, like, if God can come through when I feel like I don't even know what my next step is in this season, he will come through in any season where I feel like I don't know what my next step is. Yeah. So I just held on to that. Wow. So do you feel like you really know who you are in Christ now? 100%. 100%. Nobody can tell me nothing. And I feel like before, like, with the whole bullying situation, my confidence was so shakeable because I felt like my confidence was dependent on whether people liked me or not. Yes. Whereas now, on the other side, I'm like, who cares? Like, God validates me. God loves me. He made me. He's seen my whole future out, and he knows what's ahead of me, and he's blessed my feet. Like, blessed are the feet of those that carry the good news. Like, I'm carrying the message of Jesus, and he will honor that. Like, he doesn't lie. He doesn't go against his word. Like, who he says he is who he actually is, bro. And so know that. And if you know who God is, then you know who you are, because he created you. Yeah. So get to know your creator, get to know him, and you'll just know who you are. Oh, wow. Honestly, like, what a journey. But
what an incredible journey he's like took you on. And I'm so grateful that I was able to hear all of it. Do you have any last words or encouragement or anything?
I'm just in awe of how good God is, like, honestly. And like, anyone that might be listening or think, oh, this might be good for her, but like, I don't know, I promise you, like, even if you want to be main character like me and give God an ultimatum, give him your ultimatum. Like, give him a week, give him 30 days, and just watch what he'll do.
Yeah.
Like, when I made that decision to be like, okay, no, I'm actually gonna start reading the Bible. Like, I'm just gonna, I don't even know how, like, I'm just gonna figure out, like, whatever, like King James, I don't care, like, I'm just gonna open it and figure it out and be disciplined in it. Opened doors, changed the game. Like, how everything starts internally, like how you see yourself, like healing old wounds, like bringing relationships together, reconciling things. Like, only all of that could have been done by the power of God, like by the power of Jesus. There was no other way. And so I feel like if you're even sitting here thinking, should I like dip my toe in, but I promise you, like, even just give him a month. Like, try and even just get into the Bible for like 30 days.
Yeah.
Be like, for a month straight, I'm just gonna wake up and like read one chapter and just see what happens. Like, if the minute you give God your yes, it completely changes everything.
Yeah.
Like, he can only work with a surrendered heart. He can only work with somebody that's willing to try.
For sure.
You know, like, we're not trying to get it perfect, but we're just trying our best with what we have right now. And so, yeah, if you're listening, I promise you, just give God a small yes. Give him something and he'll work with that.
So good.
Love him.
Wow.
Love him.
We do love him, honestly. Wow. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
Oh.